Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Jessica's channel. Today we're going to talk about God's will in our life, and we're going to talk about how the universe and the reality that we see is a mirror. It's a reflection, but God's intention, God's will in us is what we have that God gifted us with the ability to change our lives and to change the mirror by changing ourselves first. So let's look at this quote. It's obedience to God's will is often the harder road, quote unquote harder, but it is the one that leads to peace, growth, fulfillment, and purpose. So oftentimes we think that the harder road is going to be the one that causes more heartache, more pain, more work, etc. But when we step back and look through it through the eyes with the knowledge and the wisdom that God gave us, with the eyes of truth, we see that the harder road is actually the one that leads us to the most prosperous, the most fulfillment, the most growth, the most peace, and the most purpose, because it allows us to follow God's will and do the thing that is going to bring us a better tomorrow and really make us better versions of ourselves. Just when you think about going to the gym, you think about how you have to lift heavy weights in order for you to grow and for you to tear down that muscle so you can rebuild and build stronger. So just like that, it's about breaking down old programs, breaking down whatever we thought of as hard, and knowing that God supplies us with the strength, and the limitations are just in our mind. Our mind is the one that tells us that it's going to be hard, and I talk about this all the time. It's about letting go of that thought that certain things are going to be hard. It's about really examining, well, why do I think this is going to be hard? Getting beyond your mind and realizing that your mind lies to you a lot of the times, because it was built on survival, and it was built on the fact that it needed to just think of these worldly things, and it doesn't know that you are a child of God, that you are a spirit, that you were made in the image of God, and there is so much more than what we see in the physical world. So God's will for us is always going to be the strongest, and is always going to give us the most fruitful life, the most fulfilling life, the most life that is loving, because God is love and God is eternity. And our flesh, our subconscious mind, which controls 95% of our programming, does not realize that there is more than the physical world, than what we see. So, off to our first and major topic of the day. Life is a mirror. This is you right here. And just like when you look in a mirror and you want something in your life to change that you don't like, you are not going to change the reflection itself. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to change what you see out there. You're not going to change that person. You're not going to change that situation and how it affects you. You can't change other people. You can't change anything outside of yourself. It starts with yourself and how you see the world and the way that you are projecting onto the world. So in order for you to change your reality and what you see, what you are projecting, you need to first change yourself. And how do you change yourself? You look within. That's what people mean when they say you have to look within. You have to look within your heart and realize, okay, why is this situation, why am I attracting this situation? Why am I attracting this pattern? Why am I attracting this pattern in my life? Because you can end relationships, you can end jobs, you can end certain situations, but they still keep coming back to you day after day because you are attracting that pattern in your life that triggers you. So when you're able to see the foundation of the way that this world works and the wisdom that God has imparted in us to see beyond the physical world, and see that we really are all energy. We really are all light. God all gave us a light, and that light is our willpower within us to shine and to break free of the old patterns in our life that aren't serving us anymore, but that did at one point. It's what we learned. So when you realize that you can't change the outside world, you can't change the mirror, you can change the inside, by connecting to your willpower and setting an intention of what it is that you actually do want. And that is by what you think, how you feel, and how you act. All of these things create your personality. It's who you are being. And once you realize that who you are being is what you are attracting, then you realize that you can change your life, and you change it by what you think. So this has a lot to do with affirmations, the stories that you keep repeating to yourself, changing those stories and seeing life in a different way, embracing change, embracing the uncomfortable feeling, which feelings come from God. It's a knowing, but thoughts lead to emotions. And it's about connecting to the emotion and the feeling that is going to build and give you the action that you need. It's like it's building up the energy, it's fueling the action that you need in order for you to be the person that you want to be, in order for you to start that business that you want to start, in order for you to have the confidence to ask someone that you like, or to move across the country. But it's really you building those action steps and building that confidence that you can do it, and you are so more than capable. And the more that you trust and the more that you do what you can, you will realize that God is always on your side, and there is always a flow to this. God always wants the best for you. God always wants you to act in His will, because when you act in His will, it leads to all of these things. There's no other way. You will always be blessed. You will always be fortunate. You will always be abundant if you are acting on God's will. And when you act on God's will and it turns out to be not exactly what you expected, you will soon realize that closed doors are blessings. They were not meant for you, and it was actually a blessing. It was divine timing, and things always come in the perfect timing. And when you're able to step back and see that it really is about you trusting God and you realizing that you are so blessed, and it is really a mirror. So you need to dance first. If you want a certain career, if you want a certain life for yourself, if you want a certain partner, you need to first be that person that is going to attract that reality. So you first need to learn how to love yourself, so then you can love others and learn how to receive love from others. You need to be responsible enough to know that you need to take care of this, or be disciplined enough to do the tasks that you need to do, and know that you will know enough as you go, and know that God has equipped you with everything that you need to know, and everything else down the road will line up, and God will unfold the steps step by step. But it's only until you take action that the universe will then move and things will actually change. And if there is something in your life that is falling apart, or that is no longer, or relationships that are falling apart and that things are falling out of your life, that is such a good sign, because it means that things are changing for you. It means that there are other possibilities out there that you're connecting to, because as always, you need to release things in order for new things to come into your life. You need to let go. The universe is clearing, God is clearing what is no longer serving you, pulling out the weeds, so then you can plant new seeds, new intentions, and you to accept more love in your life, accept more of your dreams coming true, accept more of the loving and beautiful things to flourish in your life, so you can water those things. And so every upheaval, every shock to your life is always a good thing, because it changes the patterns that you were once attracting that weren't serving you anymore. So just like any growth, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, and it's about really loving the uncomfortable, getting in tune with the uncomfortable, and realizing that that is the only place that you grow, that is the only place that you truly can be the best version of yourself and grow into your potential. Because potential is infinite. It is always going to be there. It's always going to be in the ether. It's always going to be a possibility. But if you don't act on that possibility, then nothing is going to materialize. If you don't act and feel and think that you're worthy of that dream that God has placed in your heart and your mind, then you're never going to act. So it's about starting in your heart, knowing that God has blessed you and that you are worthy of living the life of your dreams. You're worthy of feeling abundant. You're worthy of feeling worthy. You're worthy of feeling like you have enough. You're worthy of feeling and knowing that you are a child of God and that there is more to this world than what you see. And so when you realize that, you're able to have more faith. Your faith grows because you're starting to act in the way that God has called you to. You're starting to act on God's will, and there is no other way that can happen but God blessing you. And then you start to realize that the road is no longer, it's not hard. It's just your mind tricking you and telling you that it's going to be hard, but it is the best thing that you can do for yourself because you are worth the effort. You're worth the effort that leads to this. So look beyond what's tangible, what's in front of you, and realize that you are worthy of putting in the effort for yourself and choosing the hard road that is going to get you the most